up, guys? What's up, guys? Today is actually Thursday, June the 25th, 2020. And I wanted to take this time out while I had time to talk to you guys. I wanted to talk to y'all about my story. Let's talk about my story. Alright, I want to go back from when I was a little girl. I want to tell y'all the Lord has been impressing on me to tell my story. And so I want to tell my story because I believe that my story will help a lot of people, not just women, not just men, but women and men and also children. I want people to know that when I was a young girl, I came from poverty. I came from a home that was not a two-parent home. I came from a mother who was struggling with alcoholism. I came from a home where my mother was stricken. Well, she's not going to say, I would say my mom had, I don't know if stricken is the right word, but we found out that my mom had stomach cancer. I was a little girl, maybe 5 or maybe even older than that. I don't really recall. But I think I was around 5. And so I remember when my they thought my mom was going to die. They offered us to the family, but the family would only take one of us and not all 3 of us. And my mama never wanted her kids to be separated. She wanted us to always be together so that we could have each other. And so when that became impossible, we were placed into foster homes. And oh man, did I cry. And I cried. The foster homes we were in wouldn't take all 3 of us, but at the time, they put us into a place called Youth City. And Youth City took all 3 of us, except for they had to separate us, meaning they had to separate us from our brother. So my sister and I stayed in one place, and he stayed in another place. But while in that place, it was a nightmare. Can you imagine being 5 years old and they wanted me to go and do a pap smear? Now I'm 5 years old and you want me to go get a pap smear, and I was scared. I was frightened. They tried to do it before and I told them no, I'm not doing it. And so they sent us home. They sent us back. The rest of the girls, they did it. And they were older than me. So I was like, no, I'm not. I was scared. I cried. I fought. They couldn't hold me down. I was just frightened. So they sent me back. And when I got back, I got in trouble. And then so when it was time again for another group to go out, they sent me out again. And they told me I better take it. I better have the pap smear. But again, once again, I fought because I was scared and I'm 5 years old. I'm not going to allow that to happen to me. And so it came back to the head lady at the place where I was staying. Now, let me let you know, Youth City is a place for kids that have been taken away from their parents, have been through CPS. That's what Youth City is. And so when I got back, they had told, her name I believe was Miss Judy. They told her, and if that's not the name, that's the name we're going to go with for disclaimer purposes. They told her that I had refused to do the pap smear. And so they told her while we were at the dinner table, we were actually eating supper, and everybody, she asked did they get their pap smear done? Everybody else at the table said yes, but then they said, not Diana. And I was like, she asked me why. I told her because I was scared. And so my consequence, my punishment was that the older girls, she told them to get behind me, hold my hands behind my back. And she hit me in my face. She hit me so hard in my face that she knocked a couple of my teeth out. And these were my permanent teeth at the time. You guys can probably see here. I'm missing a teeth, and I'm missing a teeth there. And for years, I covered that up. And I told people for years that that's just a gap in my mouth. I used to smile like this because I didn't want people to see my smile, because I felt ugly. I was embarrassed. I'm driving, as you can see. I was embarrassed. I felt ugly. Low self-esteem set in at 5 years old. It took a lot for me to think I was pretty. Well, even more happened while I was in that place. I also, there was nothing my sister can do for me at the time. She was 7. I was 5. And we had to sleep. Our sleeping area that we slept in was like an open bunk, an open bay, if you want to call it. We had beds that, well, no, I take that back. There were rooms, and there were like about 4 beds in the room, and we all slept in that room. And as a little girl, I recall, because there were older women in there, 18, 17, 19, different age groups were in this room. And I used to be frightened of the dark. But even though there were other people in the dark, these girls were sleeping with each other. I would hide up under the cover because I didn't know what was going on, but I knew they was doing stuff they had no business doing, and I didn't want them to get me, so I hid up under the cover, scared, frightened. I could not tell anybody because, mind you, they were older than me, and they ran in cliques. You would have gotten beaten up. I would have got beaten up. My sister couldn't help me. And so they got in my sister's head, not that she was doing anything, but she had this long, pretty hair. She was beautiful. And they befriended her. And so we started arguing. She would be mean to me. My sister would be mean. Not that she knew any better. She was 7, okay? And so we got into an argument one time, like little girls. And so the punishment was that we're going to stand up there. She made us stand up there for about 2 hours, kissing with our lips together, not open mouth, but our lips hurt so bad. If we got caught with our lips apart, we'd have to stand there longer. Our lips were so sore. Everybody walked by us. They laughed at us. They talked about us. They made fun of us. I was crying, and my sister was trying to keep me from crying because I didn't want to do that. That's my sister. And we didn't know no better, and I just thought that was a horrible punishment. But we never argued. If we did, we didn't get caught because she had her friends and I had really none, because I felt like a real outcast at the time. And so I just learned to be quiet sometimes. I learned to just play by myself. And there was one time we had those coconut tree. There was a coconut tree out in the front yard. And I remember throwing things up at that coconut tree when they told me to not do it. I was hard-headed. And I have a scar. I don't know if you guys can see here, a little dot here. Well, the coconut thing fell and hit me in my head. And I got a serious knot, but it left a scar for me to remember that. And so, guys, it even got worse. As I was there, they wouldn't comb my hair. I'm black. I'm an African American. We need grease. We need oils in our hair. And I didn't have any oils in my hair. And so they took, bugs came and I began to get bugs in my hair. And the bugs in my hair, the only way we knew we had bugs in my hair is that my auntie, my dad's sister, would come down, and she would come down, and she would, I'm sorry, I was being nosy. She would come down and grease my hair and plait my hair up for me. And when she seen it, as she was going through my hair, she seen I had bugs, I had lice. And she picked them out with a tweezer. And that scared me because I'm like, what in the world is that? And that's what it was. It was lice that she was picking out of my hair. Now I'm black. And it's because there was no oils. They wouldn't buy us grease. And they had the funds. They didn't buy the stuff that we needed to take care of us. My dad at the time would send money to my auntie, which was his sister, and she would come and buy me panties and buy me things that I need for, t-shirts, socks. And as soon as she would leave, I wouldn't get that stuff was given. I got what they gave me, and the rest was given to other people. It was very, very hard as a child. As a child being away from my mom, it was very difficult. We got to see my mom on visitations because my mother did beat cancer, praise God. She beat cancer, so she ended up getting her rights to visitation. And so we were able to see her. We were able to see her on visitation days on the weekends for a couple of hours or so. And it was the hardest thing in the world to be taken away from mama and back into that system. But my mom didn't lose us to custody, but once you get your children, once kids get into CPS's hands, and I'm not saying this is all cases, once they get in CPS's hands, guys, let me tell you, it can be very, very hard to get your child back, no matter if they were taken. This was a medical situation. We thought my mom was dying, and my mom did what was best for her children. She thought she had done the best thing by putting us in a place where we would all be together. Little did she know it was like the worst nightmare that I had ever experienced, as well as my brother and sister. My brother was beaten in this place. He tried to run away. He was caught. Like, it was horrible, guys. It was horrible. But thank God that we made it out of there alive, out of that place. But you know, my scars tell the story that I made it. But there's more to my story of my life. That is just the first portion, from when I was 5 up until about 8, somewhere in there. Maybe, yeah, but about the first 3 years. But if you would like to hear more about my story, I will be coming back, and I'll pick up from where I left off at. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the videos. Make sure you drop a comment. Maybe you had some struggles when you were young, but I'm here to tell my story. And so this is part 1 of my story. God bless you, and thank you so much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the squad. I'm here to pick up my mom. By the way, I do have my mask. I'm coming out with a different mask today, guys, which is this mask here. My in-laws made it. It goes around your head and wraps around, so they made sure we were ready. All right, guys, well, I'm going to talk to you soon. Y'all be blessed. Bye, guys.